Heard of Q broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Heard of Q broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, and
Well,
yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrissey?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else, and she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants, you know. Just because somebody else does something does not mean that I have to do it. You know, I have my own morals and ideals, and I go by them.
Are you drug-free, Dareth?
Yes, I am.
Is this a political statement then? Do you have some misgiving about the society that you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems, you know. A lot of the people are really aware of what's going on, you know, and I don't like it, you know. There's a lot of problems. What? I don't like the way society is based.
What bothers you? Give us some of the misgivings you have.
The rich, the poor, the people starving, the wars. You know, why can't, you know, everybody just get along and just live their life?
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these
Selling real and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John Age Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the Anomic Age, and I am your host, John Age, hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State. I'll be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global Luciferian death cult of pedophiles. Woo, thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all ages, those of you who still identify as human. I will be taking you into the dark side of the AM this evening. Check out anomicage.com. If you've not already done so, please like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me/anomicage, Patreon.com/anomicage as well. It's the brand new edition of anomicage.com. So if it's new to you, it's kind of new to me too. So there you go. Thanks so much for all those probably newish folks at Patriots Prayer Network. Happy to be on the docket of fine talent. I'm the dark side of the AM guy, so I'll be bringing you in Tuesday and Thursday, 11:30 p.m. into the 12:30 a.m. The dark side of the AM. I'll be at that time slot. So if it's new to you, there you go. And you can definitely go to anomicage.com. A plethora, a smorgasbord, a veritable cornucopia of guests that we've had at the Anomic Age. And we got a few more coming up. I was just going back and forth, kind of communicating with some people a little bit before the show this evening. So we got that. But I got to be real with you. I love having guests on. It's always a pleasure to speak with so many different folks from so many different parts and spots on the globe and walks of life and all that jazz. But I kind of love these intimate conversations where we just kind of chew the fat, if you will, and chop up some of the usual suspect buffet of buffoonery. And sometimes it's news, sometimes it's just me riffing a little bit. Sometimes we got to go into the deep end of the pool and kind of cover some other topics that's often left out. And I was kind of thinking about that today because there's been multiple times over the years of doing the show where things are just complete turds in the off the camera, off the mic world. And you go through these stages in life where you're like, what the bleep am I doing? What am I doing this for? But as I just kind of reflect back and kind of do the prep work for the show every week, there's never a time when I'm like, I got nothing to say. I got nothing to say. Even though there's been times where I've told family and friends, I got nothing to say. And then I sit there and I'm like, well, heck, we got to talk about X, Y, Z, elemental P. There's always stuff to talk about. And I usually kind of stray away from the news because, to be quite honest, the news is just garbage. It's a buffet of buffoonery. As old Billy Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage and us merely actors upon it. And that's so true, folks. I look at the news and think, man, this is all just a blitzkrieg of buffoonery. It's just complete garbage all the time. But sometimes it's more relevant than others. And most of the time it's just complete creepy. But this week, it kind of struck me funny, and I had to cover this. So we'll cover it. Don't worry. We're going to cover Afroman Saves America. We'll go cover that in a minute. But before we do, I'm going to kind of start in reverse. I'm going to cover the news a little bit, and then we'll get into Afroman Saves America. Because that's what I'm going to do. So, it's my show and I'll do what I want to, kind of thing. That's the beauty of this whole thing. There is no outside donors of the Little Hat variety from across the pond. No, it's really not. It's just me. So again, I'll underscore this message. If you want to help me out, anomicage.com is where you can go to find all things me. PayPal.me/anomicage, Patreon.com/anomicage, 2 iPhone app, Android app, free newsletter, subscribe by email link. All that stuff's right there for you. I kind of, by default, am kind of old tech because old tech always trumps new tech. But the old tech is always working. The subscribe by email link has never been problematic since day one. of being part of the show. So you can just hit that subscribe by email link, put a fake name, put your, alias email in there, and they'll send you every time I drop a show, you'll get a link saying, hey, there's a new show. And if you think, hey, this stinks after a couple weeks, you just hit unsubscribe and we never speak again. It's just that easy. But I'd love for the folks to get on there with the patrons and throw me some quan that way. That'd be great. I just had another bill from the web people a couple of days ago. So no shortage of bills. And I know it's ridiculously treacherous out there as far as what did old DJT say? Our 5-star, 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 infinity star economy. It's just unbelievable. I guess, unless you're actually in the real world, that's not like pulling in 8 digits, whatever it is a year. I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. Oh boy. We're going to kind of start. Well, the whole show tonight, I got to be real. The whole show tonight is going to be a little lighter than usual. And I've been feeling a lot lighter than usual too. And I hope you have too, because you can look at the news at face value and just get all scared and panicked and, fear and the gas prices and the oil, or you could just say, I don't know what you could say. You could say a lot of things, but I'm going to keep it PG. So, depending on what you say is what you say. But I know before I even get any comments in the comments that I don't read, actually, before I receive any comments about this, I know, okay? I know. But I like to take it back to like 1988 or something, oftentimes, and take that sort of view from the cat in the Matrix. I was going to look up his name and I forgot to. The guy that was like, I know this steak is fake and it's all not real and it's all ones and zeros, but I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the Matrix for a minute, whatever the bad guy was that turned on the crew in the Matrix, sometimes I do feel like that guy just a little bit. I mean, just the lightest little, like throw a little salt on there. Oh, just a little bit, And I love basketball. I'm always going to love basketball. I know it's a sham, a con, a hustle, a dodge. I know all about it, folks. I know more than you think. The Fix is in the Brian Toohey book. They did like at least one, I think 2 sequels. The Fix is in 2. The Fix is in The Revenge. I'm joking, Brian. That's not really the third time there, but anyway, I've known this for a long time, so I get it. The bread and circuses, entertainment for the slave classes, the plebs, idle distractions. I 110% comprendo. Entiendo? I for real do. But I still love basketball. I like playing basketball. I like watching basketball. I don't care if it's rec league, if it's college, if it's the pros. Some about me intrinsically just loves basketball, no matter how fake and bull jive it all is, which we already know. And we've known that for a long time, but people are finally like aghast, Chelsea Billups was betting on games and cheating. Like, oh my goodness, man. If any of that was revelatory to anyone, my condolences to your family. You know what I'm saying? But I say all that to say this. I love basketball, and we're in the throes of March Madness right now. I love it, man. I love it. I've been watching just a little bit of it because I want to take myself back in time to that youngster in the late to mid 80s that love this kind of stuff, man. I always, when I think about this time of year, I remember being that little kid, and there was a steakhouse in the island that I was on, and Old North State, what that's about. Basketball, Tobacco Road, all the big ACC schools when it was actually the ACC and didn't turn into like the Pacific Coast Conference with the ACC conference with these bizarre middle of the continent conferences. It all melded into the ACC just so we could capitalize on BS football dollars. Like, who cares about football? What a crap tard bunch of garbage. But anyway, way back then, I remember there used to be a great steakhouse on the island, and they would have these they were about the size of a business card. They were, I think, maybe a little bit bigger than business card, but they had like the whole AC schedule. I mean, this one, it was like not even 10 schools, I think. way before Florida State, way before a lot of these other schools entered. But they had like the whole breakdown of the season basically on this little card, and you knew like what team was playing like, every weekend, and it was all on the local channels way before cable. So you would just watch, ABC, NBC, CBS basically, and you could watch the entire ACC season of basketball. It was beautiful. Anyway, so I know it's nostalgia bait, and some part of me is just grasping at the matrix that doesn't exist. I feel you, but a little part of me just loves that. I'm excited to a tiny degree about March Madness, and that's fun. So I'm into that. I had some big upsets. Carolina's out. Oh, I'm so sad. So Carolina's out. Wah, wah, wah. Duke won though, but that's pretty cool. State's out. Sorry, State. You out of here too. But I'm repping those mid majors, man. High Point pulled an upset that I was stoked about that. UNCW in the NIT, they won their first game in there by a hair, so that's cool too. So that just kind of your little, I know you didn't sign up for this. You wanted me to just bore you to tears with Iran and talk about Trump and talk about all this bull jive, but I had to just wade in the water just a little bit. Just wade in the water, children. Wade in the water, the matrix for a second and just talk about something completely not political. I mean, you should have known that by the title of tonight's show, entitled Afroman Saves America. So, we're going to keep it light tonight, folks. But we are going to stay in North Cac just for a moment. Here we go. Let's get into the news so the people crying won't cry anymore about me covering other stuff. They didn't want to talk about sports. Okay, just leave. There's other folks you can go see. You can go watch Tucker. You can go watch what are these other big name boobs that are out there, Go watch Hannity. He'll throw the football at you and act like he cares. Please, get serious. All right, let's check this out. This is from North Cac also. This is from yesterday. Our beloved governor, the communist in chief for the old North State, his name is Josh Stein. Raise a brow. I wonder if he's... Nah, couldn't be. Anyway, Josh Stein signed this lovely piece, and I got it on the screen there for you, by the governor of the state of North Carolina, entitled Ramadan 2026. What? So he's basically forcing Ramadan up the people's backside of North Carolina. So thanks, Josh Stein, communist piece of bloop that you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, the communists, which are the Democrats or the right-wing fruitcakes, they call themselves Republicans, whatever. It's the same thing, folks. Same thing. It doesn't really matter. You can doll yourself up in your gang colors. You can wear your gang mascot, the donkey or the elephant. I mean, this works out perfectly with March Madness and basketball season because it's the same old bull job, folks. And this is why they know it works. This is why it works. I'm going to do a whole different show. I got... I had a little time to myself. I was like, man, I got so much to talk about, but I can't cover it all tonight in 1 hour. But we're going to cover this a little bit more. I mean, we've covered it ad nauseum, like the psychology of why the binary opposition works, the psychology of why they get people rooting for the Redskins and the Chargers or whatever. They get people rooting for the elephants or the donkeys. And it's so hilarious when you think about it. I mean, this is why you had mentally retarded people having like a bandage on their ear for solidarity with their gang member a couple months back. It was funny, man. But anyway, so here we go. North Carolina is now, I guess, even more Muslim friendly. So they are shoving Ramadan up your bum. They are, folks. Shout out to the great punk band from across the pond. I had a chance to see these guys once. Peter and the Test Tube Babies. Great song by the Peter and the Test Tube Babies called Up Your Bum, Up Your Bum. And here in NC, we're getting Ramadan up our bum, up our bum, up our bum. But don't worry, because the citizenry still thinks that they can just vote their way out of it. So if we just get enough people voting on the right, we're going to turn the ship around. And If we could just get a different captain of the Titanic, I swear we could float this bad boy back up to the surface. Anyway, shout out to Peter and the test tube babies. Good grief. What the? There we go. I was about to get disgusted there for a minute. Anyway, we got more links for you. This was an older one from 2022 from WRAL.com. Largest Hindu temple in North America unveiled in Cary, North Carolina. Indeed. Right there on the outskirts of the Research Triangle in the triad of Tobacco Road. NC State, UNC, Duke, and let's not forget Wake Forest too. So if you're into that, if you're into, you know, oh my goodness, I can't remember that dude's name. Big Blue. He was what I always called him, Big Blue, like the Hindu god. Oh man, the Big Blue guy. The Krishna cats love this dude. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, if you're into Big Blue or the pantheon of other deities that look very demonic to you and me, you can just travel just a stone's throw away from where we are right now and go up to Cary to the largest Hindu temple in North America. And there's some newer news where apparently this got vandalized a couple months back. I mean, that's pretty terrible. But anyway, so we got that. That's good to know, isn't it? But wait, there's more. More news, I tell you. This one I thought was kind of funny because I was seeing some links today talking about how in Great Britain, they're going to try to extradite people and I guess pull people back across the pond into Great Britain, no matter where you are. I think this was specifically languaged to reference North America, hence Los Estados Unidos. But basically, Britain's saying, yo, if you criticize the little hat people anywhere on the globe, we're going to pull you back to Britannica and put you in the Tower of London, I guess. Who knows? Like that old Misfits song, London Dungeons. Maybe you'll end up in the London Dungeons for criticizing the tiny hats, even if you're not in Britain. It's kind of bizarre. But then again, I mean, you've seen the language rhetoric from DJT and various people in his cabinet. I can't think of that chick's name. I don't know. We covered like 2 months ago. She was up there like mean mugging, talking. She was like the Israel Defense Lobby or some sort of horse PM. But anyway, they said the same mess basically. And we got that guy in Florida that I guess is going to get strung up for doing something negativo towards our greatest allies. So it doesn't stop there because we got this one. You got FCC chair threatens broadcast licenses amid Trump's criticism of Iran war coverage. Carrie Brin is a news editor at CBS News, a graduate of, who cares, man? We ain't trying to hear about him. We trying to talk about the chair. Brendan Carr threatened to revoke broadcast licenses on Saturday, echoing criticism from President Trump over the media coverage of the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran. Yeah. So not only, I guess, if you criticize our greatest ally, but now if you criticize the prez and his handling, however you could possibly construe it, I don't even think it's handling. It's just kind of like, never mind. If you criticize the prez or criticize our greatest ally, and I guess in any way criticize how the Iran war is being handled, you too could have your license removed. Maybe they'll take you to like, what's that, Guantanamo, Alcatraz, whatever it is. Alligator Alcatraz, sorry. Maybe they'll take you there if you say something bad about our greatest ally, or if you criticize the handling of the presidente. Isn't this along the lines, this is rhetorical, because it is. Isn't this along the lines of Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, where he was snatching up the press or their coverage of the war? I mean, it seems like it. Maybe I'm crazy. This is where like the crux of what they called yellow journalism and all this bulljob. I mean, this is what you would expect to see from Pravda, 30 years back or what have you, in the fall of the Berlin Wall or something. This is what you would expect to see from Pravda. Anyway, so that's going on here in the United States, just in case you were wondering. I was going to say that's what you might see from Mikhail Gorbachev. I couldn't think of the guy's name. All I can think of was Stainhead, which is not his name. It's Mikhail Gorbachev. Anyway, moving on. What else we got? We got this too, because just in case you thought the federal government won't come for you, federal surveillance tech becomes mandatory in coches nuevos, in new cars by 2027, folks. So if you thought you were going to get away, then think again, because that ain't happening. There was a great video. It didn't really give you any audio. It was just showing you, like in seconds, what AI in a major metropolitan city could do as far as tracking, surveilling, and following different cars. So, I mean, if you think you're getting out of this bull job, forget about it, man. Peter Thiel, Palantir, VP Vance, or whatever his name is today, they got you on lock. And if you think that ain't enough, then you got old Muskie baby. Oh, we're not friends anymore, but now we are. We released these Doge documents just so everybody could urinate in the wind or fiddle while Rome burns, because that's the deal, folks. The enemy is you. I mean, you knew that. You knew that by watching the show, but you also knew that because the people that watch and listen to the show have like an IQ above room temperature. They're not troglodyte, brain dead goldfish brains. I mean, so you know that, right? Like the enemy is you. The enemy post 9/11 world and all that bull job you heard from W, that was all for you, folks. They all chump sucker moroned the American people into buying in and believing that the enemy was across the sea. They were in a cave on dialysis, right? They had the general public actually believe that narrative of pudding pops, right? When magically, weeks after 9/11, we pulled this multi-100-page document out of our rears. Magically, we have a new agency just poof before our eyes. Magically, we have all these body scanners that'll give you cancer, dead in a hammer. And don't worry, then they can sell your nudie images. I mean, all this just magically appeared as if a blipping leprechaun slid down a rainbow with a pocket full of gold and shook his little wand at you or something. It's downright hysterical. But so there you go. So if you were thinking about getting a new car soon, I mean, most of the cars already have this jive in it. They just want more control. So, I mean, for like 20 plus years, there's been cars equipped with the OnStar systems. I won't even get into it. I mean, no, I won't. I'll just say cars that I have owned. I'll tell you this. When doing repairs and such, microphones basically left sticking out of the dash that I had to go back and be like, hey, what's this? Like, it ain't the microphone for the Bluetooth. What the bleep is this? This was like almost 15 years ago. But anyway, so this ain't new. It's nothing new under the sun. It's now they're just telling the slaves of the newfangled contraptions. Now it's like, hey, slaves, guess what? Surprise, surprise, surprise. Gomer Pyle just pops out of a freaking briar patch and tells the American morons what everybody with a brain has already known. You know what I mean? Like, it's downright comical when you think about it. Oh, my heavens. What's up with this? God bless America. Son of a biscuit. We had this thing all pulled up, and alas, it's just all gone to Pluie. Dang. That's all right. We got more, so I ain't stressing it too much, although I am getting a little hacked off. Dang it. We had the darn article pulled up, man. I swear. That's all right. I had the article pulled up, but we'll just wing it without the article. I have the link in this image, but I don't have the actual article from Daily Caller. It's okay. We're not going to flip out. We're just going to keep on rolling, baby. Here we go. This one's fun. USA, Los Estados Unidos, has decided to completely classify the funeral ceremonies of American soldiers killed in the war with Iran for Israel. Don't forget our greatest ally. And strictly prohibit filming. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world, isn't it? This is kind of like the inverse of Brokaw with the Vietnam coverage, where they had like body bags at nauseum coming off of C-130s, and they were showing these ghastly images in the theater of war, and they were spooking the bleep out of the American people with more of their trauma-based mind control shtick. We flipped the script completely, and now we are classifying it all. Is this like the way we're classifying everything related to the COVID hoax? Everything related to Fauci, PSYOP 19, everything related to that's like classified for 50 blipping years, remdesivir, the whole 9 yards. I mean, we've just completely swept all that under the rug. And the vast majority of the goldfish-brained American public with the IQ of a goldfish, but also the attention span of a goldfish, have somehow just forgotten that all that even happened. Like in 2020, barely. I think it wasn't even into 2021. They've forgotten the trauma. Their trauma-based mind control has caused the psychological split, and the slaves have forgotten that they were put through that ordeal, and now they're just whistling past the graveyard as if nothing even happened. So they've classified all that bull job. But back to this, they're now classifying the soldiers that are coming back from this joke of a nonsensical war for Israel. That's what's really going on now. I mean, it's downright funny, I tell you. Downright funny. So that's what's going on. But I gotta pull these up, man. I swear, I had these. I was gonna play these videos, and I just decided not to. But I'm gonna throw them in there. We got to, folks. We have got to. I'm gonna pull both of these in there, man. I got to. Got to pull them in there, folks. Got to pull them in there. No. We don't want to hear Nettie yet. No. Not you, Nettie. Not yet. Just in a minute, we will, but not right now. All right, we got one for Nettie, and we got two for Nettie. So if you were into Nettie, boys and girls, you about to get hype, because this is going to be insane here in a minute. There's so much Nettie, you can't even contain yourself. All right, so we got that coming up. We are going to wait, because we got a little bit more before we get into Nettie. I know people like to talk about Nettie Net, or BB, or whatever it is. Whatever. You love to talk about him, and I'm going to get there. So just keep it between the lines, trying to have a stroke or a spell over there, because we're still going to talk about it. All right, this one is what I want to get into. I had the article pulled up, and alas, zigged when I should have zagged, and doggone it, now we're just going to have to see the image. This is from the Daily Caller. First week of the Iran war. Cost how much? $11 billion with a B. Enough to house every homeless veteran for over a decade. But don't worry, we're diddling around across the sea in another bleep hole that we have no business in. Somebody put up a great meme of this, basically showing the money laundering scam in the Ukraine that, started under DJT, continued under barely there Biden, and is rolled into DJT take 3. We're still doing the money laundering campaign. This is akin to the same thing with the COVID hoax, where people just whistle past the graveyard. They've forgotten that we're still pee-peeing in the wind, getting covered in urine, and still funding this Ukraine crud. We've forgotten, I guess, folks. That's just it. It's okay. It's over there somewhere. It's okay. Totally all right. So anyway, I'm not one of these socialist boobs, not one of these commie-crat people. I ain't into that. But I will say, hey, if we've got 11 bill, we realize it's all Federal Reserve notes, none of this money's real. It's just ones and zeros put on a computer screen. I got it. So don't give me that job. I know. All right. I feel you. It ain't real. It's as fiat as Federal Express and all that bull butter, right? I feel you. So my deal is, if we got $11 billion, real or imaginary, that we can pull out of our proverbial hats, backsides, then we do have enough for these commie fruit bats to get their dream of everybody having health care. Hell, we could all have the best health care imaginable for 11 billion blipping dollars. And I'm not suggesting that we give it to illegals and we give it to the migrants or whatever the flip these people want to call themselves, identify themselves, or otherwise be. That ain't tripping me, folks. I'm saying for the actual factual people of America, we could easily all have at least a pretty decent health care for 11 billion blipping dollars. But instead, we're peeing it down the drain over here. We could all get a nice check from our illegal income tax system. Everybody could get a check. Just like, hey, there's Charlie, you get X amount of dollars. Whatever, 11 billion divided by the actual number of citizens here is, whatever that is. And I know there's problems because there's dead people that aren't real and there's fake people. I got you. I feel you. I'm just saying we could do a whole lot better things with that 11 bill than this bull job, right? I mean, that's just easy peasy, right? That's middle of the road type knowledge, isn't it? Okie dokie. Excuse me. Try not to cough here. I never have a cough. Well, I do have a cough all the time, but not until I get on the air does it really rear its ugly head. We got to talk about Netty Net. We got to talk about BB, baby. Everybody wants to talk about Biebs, not Justin Bieber. No, we got to talk about the man of the hour, Pennsylvania educated BB Netanyahu, baby. So we got to talk a little Biebs. We're going to just roll these two clips. I'll let them speak for themselves, let it do what it do, and then I'll talk some more to you. This is funny. Here's the deal. I don't even know if Biebs is alive anymore. We have had so many conflicting reports. It's like the USS Abraham Lincoln reports and the USS Gerald Ford reports. All these asinine reports seem to be about as legitimate as Keebler elves parachuting from the sky and dropping bars of gold in your stocking tonight. It seems about as believable as that bull job. So in my humble opinion, this is probably like AI BB. We've already seen the bull job where there's footage of BB with like 7 fingers on one hand and this horse petite. We already have seen all this other conflicting, contradictory, or downright lies of the news saying Biebs is dead, Biebs is alive, Biebs is fine, Biebs' wife is dead. Who the heck even knows at this juncture, folks? Who the diggity dog even knows? Let's listen to Biebs.
I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits, in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points forever.
So that's Biebs telling you the realness. Biebs is saying, yo, what we really need to do is steal their blipping oil. We need a pipeline running to the west. And immediately everybody with the knowledge of a map scratches their head and goes, what is the west from there? I know. It's Israel. Exactly. So we need to get a pipeline going to the west through there into Israel so that we can do away with their choke point and put the choke point where, folks? Where, class? Adonde? You guessed it, in Israel. Yeah, that's what Biebs is saying. If that's even Biebs, or if that's Grot Biebs, or if it's Jim Henson with a hand up his rear Biebs, I don't know. All I know is he said we really need to just bring this pipeline through Israel. And there's more of this, but he also said that he and DJT discussed this months ago, you see. So this was all planned way before it was included or given to you or me. It was all a plan, man. It's like old Hannibal from the A-Team. Love it when a plan comes together. So if Biebs is alive and well, he's probably high-fiving DJT right about now and going, I love it when a plan comes together. I pity the fool who don't bow down to Israel. Let's hear some more Biebs.
Also wrote the lessons of history. Very brief. 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time.
All right, I'm going to cut Beebs off. I know people are going to say I'm cutting Beebs off in a second. He's about to just go back on all these words, and you're just cutting him off because you're anti-Israel. You're not a real Christian. Slow down. Okay, so what old Beebs is saying there, he's saying Jesus is no better than Genghis Khan. JC is weaker than Genghis Khan because he just happened to be this tyrannical murderer. I mean, that's Genghis Khan, all right. So Genghis Khan was far better than JC because JC was coming with peace and Genghis Khan was coming with war, folks. War. I got to tell you, man, this sounds about as hysterical as the Muslim bull jive. It sounds on par with that whole Muslim jive where, you know, going to Medina and Muhammad's voyage back into whatever the I'm blanking on my Muslim lore, but basically old Muhammad got his rear handed to him, and then he went and said, "Oh my, we've got to be violent and bloodthirsty." I guess like Genghis Khan, or I guess that would be the connection that perhaps Beebs would be making. He would perhaps even say that Muhammad is better than JC because you know, Muhammad was I guess ruthless like Genghis Khan. You got to laugh, folks. You got to laugh. But well, you don't have to laugh because the sad but true part of this whole rigmarole is that the true believer cult members are here, there, and everywhere online, quick to point out that if you do not support Israel with every fiber of your being, if you do not sacrifice your loved ones, your babies, your little boys and girls, then you are again Christendom. And we've heard this bull jive narrative just repeated so often. And that's the crux of this whole thing, man. And I believe, ironically enough, isn't this like a Hitler quote? Like the bigger the lie, like the more people are going to buy it. I think that's pretty much it. I think there's a Stalin one basically saying if you repeat something enough times, you know, I'm paraphrasing heavily, but the slaves will just buy into it. You know, like, okay, well, flipping A. They've said greatest ally like every 5 minutes here on every single broadcast. You got Huckabee up there doing his god awful Leonard Skinner version of "We Love Israel" or whatever the flip it is. It's comedy, folks. But I mean, that's the deal. If you keep repeating Judeo-Christian, 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 Judeo, I mean, we could make a song out of it. Maybe Afroman will hit me up and we can make a Judeo-Christian mix of this kind of bull jive. Because if you say Judeo-Christian enough, then the slave class will say, well, I guess that's what we are. We're Judeo-Christian. I mean, it's comedy, but it's not, because people buy into the bull jive. I mean, it's like saying peaceful. It's like saying peaceful Genghis Khan. I mean, it's like, it does not compute. The answer is non sequitur. It is not applicable to reality. But if you keep saying it enough, I guess people will just buy into it. It's like saying, Ted Bundy, the pacifist or something. I mean, Ted Bundy responsible for at least 10 murders, just beating people, cutting people, the whole 9 yards. But if you just keep saying Ted Bundy, the pacifist, or Ted Bundy, the real nice guy, you know, eventually people will just buy into Ted Bundy wasn't a serial killer. He was just a heck of a good guy. I mean, that's the deal. Maybe that's what we should do. We should start weaponizing the language in such an asinine way that the people just have to giggle, I guess. Like, just keep saying Ted Bundy, the real nice guy. Every time. That should be your homework, class. Your homework is throughout your interactions over the weekend, just see if you can slip into conversations at various locations. Ted Bundy, real nice guy. And just see people sort of gasped for a moment. And then you'll just slip it in there again. And you'll say it again and again. And by the end of the conversation, they'll probably leave thinking Ted Bundy was a real nice guy. Or throw in your favorite serial killer. If it was Ed Gein, if it was the Night Stalker, if it was BTK killer, any of those guys, just throw in, BTK, real nice guy, Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, hero or something, just say that mess and see how long it takes. Maybe we can do our own version of what Afroman did. Maybe we can do a real cultural shift and just have a hilarious time with this whole thing. Because this is a bleep of a transition, but I think it works downright perfectly. Because we got to talk about Afroman here a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's put Afroman on the screen. There he is. This lovely imagery is vastly courtesy of yours truly. I pulled some Afroman images there. I found a nice backdrop of space, I guess like a spaceship. I took out the background and put in the other background because we got to talk about meteors and Afroman. Two things I never thought we'd get into in this show at all, but we got to because it's just as relevant as Iran, just as relevant as BB. I'd say much more relevant because this stuff's at least humorous. The other stuff's just boulder dash, just complete horse manure. But this is funny. So Afroman, let's take him off screen so we can appreciate the realness. Afroman, rapper Afroman, wins defamation lawsuit against Ohio police over house raid. AP News. That's old Afroman. His name is David Osborne. And he has this issue with the Adams County Sheriff's Department. You can't make this stuff up. I wish I could play the video bits, but some of them are vastly inappropriate, but they're downright hilarious. I love this, and we'll get into that in a moment. But basically, here's the deal, folks. I'll just throw this out there in advance. I hate drugs. I hate druggies. I hate all that booze and all that bull jive, right? So I recognize and appreciate for what it is. The drug culture is a cancer. It was put in place by the government to weaken the society and make them the crumbling edifice of weak-minded turds that they currently are. So make no mistake about it. Like, I'm not touting the virtues of Afroman and his hit song Because I Got High. That's retarded. That's moronic, imbecilic, and as lowbrow as you can be. So I ain't into all that. But I like this because it's downright hilarious. So Afroman was getting hassled by the fuzz in Adams County, Ohio. Apparently, he had I don't know if it wasn't like MC Hammer's sort of a state, but, it was a gated house. The fuzz went under there without getting the proper warrants, apparently. They thought Afroman had all kinds of drogas in La Casa. And possibly he was kidnapping or trafficking people too. This is the most hilarious nonsense I've ever heard, folks. I mean, Afroman, in the grand scheme of things, not a diss towards Afroman. He is not like top shelf, any of these moron rappers that the average boob knows about. He's not that. So he's not like Jay-Z or, fill in the blank of these mumble morons or whatever the just putrid stench of feces that these various quote unquote rap stars have got going on now. He's not like that level. So, I mean, if they were saying this regarding Jay-Z, which there's like ample evidence of nefarious things, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, look into Maria Abramovich, look into Rihanna, look into Beyonce, all these people underage when they were hanging out, look into Aaliyah. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of research here. This is like in your face information. It's just not hard to find. But somehow La Policía in Adams, Ohio, thought, I know the real culprit here is Afroman. It's hilarious. So anyway, so they bust up in his crib They break into Afroman's house without the proper warrants under the guise that he's got drogas and under the guise that he's got kidnapped people or something in his house. They start ransacking his place. They jack up his video cameras because he's smart enough. Good job, Afroman. He's smart enough to have his whole place under surveillance. So when the fuzz busts up in on your crib, you got some evidence. See, worked out pretty well for him. So bottom line is they stole some of his money. He allegedly got most of it back, but it was a little light. He was missing some bills, if you know what I'm saying. So all that to be said, Afroman thought, well, you know what? I got all this great footage. I'm going to make some songs about it. The songs are awesome. I could play them all, but I'd probably get copyright strikes and it'd be deemed inappropriate. And I'd probably catch a case like Afroman. But anyway, his songs are hilarious, making fun of the deputies in various ways for getting into his house. There's one about lemon pound cake. There's one about this dude's wife. There's another one about this dude. I'll just say interacting with alleged crackheads. It's awesome, folks. It's great stuff. So I guess the deputies were really wringing their hands and gnashing their teeth about this because they had to get on there and sue Afroman and say that he was liable because he used their image and likeness and made them look like the buffoons that they are. I love this, folks. One of these chicks is up on the stand crying. This looked like the epitome of a kangaroo court. But then again, every court in the nation is pretty much the epitome of a kangaroo court at this juncture. It's everything you would think of a banana republic. That's where we're at right now. So there was a legit court case involving Afroman where he wore, like the Apollo Creed 2026 version, the red, white, and blue American flag full suit. This man is rocking a rolled marijuana leaf ring and topping it all off with the obvious big afro and American flag glasses. This is comedy at its finest. I mean, Jerry Springer could not write this. This transcends the people's court. This is awesome. So you had this deputy, this female officer on the stand crying about how Afroman had ruined her life because of these songs. And they actually played some of the songs in the court case. A hysterical moment for all humankind. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, folks. Hilarious. So this is really what we got going on. And I'll say it again. This is far more entertaining and far more newsworthy than like 6 more years of Iraq or whatever the blip it is. And like the hidden coffins and the alleged ships going down and coming back to port. Like all this, it don't mean poop compared to Afroman taking it to the man and winning the court case. So he won the case, folks. He won the blipping case. This is amazing. I love this. This is, in spite of everything that I already said, like I'm not into the drug culture or whatever else, but this is awesome. And I love this because I've said this many times on the show, but I do believe this is in many ways the antidote to win against these various incendiary pus bags that would seek to destroy you. It doesn't matter if it's the police, the military, the courts, the governors, the mayors, the president, whatever the case may be. This is the key. Believe it or not, humor, I believe, is the kryptonite for their bull job. Because if it's one thing all of those aforementioned entities and institutions can't handle, it's getting laughed at. It's the classic mess from Carrie. They're all going to laugh at you. And when they do, you see these reptilian scumbags change into what they really are. Yellow-bellied cowards of garbage. That's what these scumbags are, folks. So in this instance, it's a win, I would say, for the First Amendment. It's a win for Afroman. It's a win for anybody that is just tired. Like that old quote from Network. What's the first thing you got to do? I'm mad as bleep and I'm not going to take this anymore. That's the American spirit that once was. I mean, by once, I mean like hundreds of years ago. It's no longer there. We are now reduced to fat, drug-addled trash that just sits around playing with their phones and talking about their shows and all this bullshit. Like, that's where we're at. But occasionally, just every now and then, something kind of slips through the cracks, either intentionally or unintentionally, and I would say kind of revives, resuscitates, or maybe even CPRs the American spirit just a little bit, just to let you know. If things look bleak, you got Afroman. He got a win on this one. So it's hilarious, but I think that is indeed what you got to do. I think humor is sometimes the best a medicine in many instances. You got to laugh. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. And you got to laugh at these tyrannical reptilian pus bags, these bipedal pieces of feces that would seek to destroy you. Because I think if you meet them on their terms and you start getting all hoity-toity and where I'm going to go, you know, all this horse manure just doesn't fly, folks. They will judo move that right into you being in a cell for the rest of your blipping life. I mean, we see evidence of that. It's very emblematic with the January 6th scam. So I think when you try to combat the criminal trash on their own field, it just doesn't work. It's stupid. It's like saying, I'm going to win a football game against, you know, the 85 Bears or something. No, you're not. You're not going to do that, all right? But if you can turn that football game into something else, and perhaps, you know, you could catch Walter Payton flat-footed or catch the fridge offsides or something. You know what I mean? So that is pretty darn funny. Afroman. Who would have thought we'd be covering Afroman on the Anomic Age? I would have never thought. But I'm glad we could do it. I'm glad we got a at least perceived cultural win. But there's one other piece of media in that we have to talk about too. It's the meteors. And I misspoke. I didn't put this in the show description. I initially misspoke and said they were comets. I swear I heard comets from at least one or two media outlets. But since then, after researching this nauseatingly, it seems to be that now everyone's going with meteors. So we'll go with meteors. Sure, that's it. It's a meteor. Wink, wink. Anyway, in the last, 5 days or so, we seem to have had a real outcrop of meteors all over North America, folks. All over North America. Got to get some water. I'm about to die here. So we got meteors. I think last I checked, it was like five different major meteor sightings across North America. And we're not talking about those little, oh, look, honey, it's a meteor. It's just, you know, it's there and it's gone. No, this is not that sort of meteor. This is looking like something quite nefarious. So we've got it at 5 different places. I think there's been sightings in LA and Houston, in Canada, and another spot like upper Midwest and then East Coast too. So these are not just the average, you're out there stargazing with your date or whatever, and you happen to see a shooting star. No. That's not what we're talking about here. I could have pulled the video, but alas, I didn't. You're going to have to do some work on your own. So we've got several major meteor events that are really causing the American people to go, what the bleep is that all about? You know? One of my favorite Bill Murray segments from the old Saturday Night Live when it was good. Him and Steve Martin go out there and go, what the bleep is that? And then the other guy comes, what the bleep is that? I know what that is. It's that sort of thing. So I think that's what's going on with these meteor events. You got the usual suspect academicians out there going, I know what that is. And then they look at it again and what the bleep is that? I don't know what that is. So what is it indeed? The pedestrian answer is it's just a meteor, John. It's nothing to worry about. Well, these things seem to have been popping off basically since since the whole Iran thing kind of popped off. It's been a little bit more than 5 days. I was giving you the shallow end of the pool on that. But these meteors have seemingly been going on now for a little bit of time since this whole Iran thing happened. So I don't know, folks. You tell me what you think it is. You think this is some sort of bizarre aerial display a la Project Bluebeam. There's no aliens. There's no UFOs. It's all Bluebeam. It's all our own stuff, and you're just too stupid to know, and blah, blah, blah. You know, if there's that. Or is it the extreme, everything's a demon camp? Are these demonic entities? Because that camp says there's no UFOs, there's no ghosts, there's no nothing but demons and gods, demons and God and the devil. That's it. So maybe that's what's up, folks. If it ain't the UFOs or UAPs or whatever the, maybe it's demons. Maybe it's demonic entities. Ooh. What you think? Think it's demonic entities? You think it's some UFOs? You think it's just the old pedestrian comets? We just happen to run into a rash of comets here in the last few weeks. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're getting some sort of missile attacks that we just don't know about. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm going to do a whole show on this one because this is one thing that I find completely interesting and quite conspicuous, don't you? I know you're going, what, John? You haven't said anything. What I find kind of revealing about this whole Iran thing, what are we into, like day 20 of it? Maybe we're into 21 now, but I digress. So depending on what side of the news you're reading or where you're getting your news that day, hour, or minutes, we're either kicking khaki or we're getting it handed to us, you know? But the oddity of oddities here, and I'll probably touch on this in another show because we're out of time, is either of these parallels that you want to go down. Does it not seem especially odd to you that on the off chance we are getting it handed to us, I mean, we don't even know how many bodies are coming back or where they're going or anything else. Are there bodies or this is all just, you know, is it drogas? We got drugs in the caskets again, like Iran-Contra? I don't know, folks. I'm just saying, I don't know. But if we are getting it handed to us, I wonder, don't you, why we aren't using this amazing high-tech weaponry that we've been told so much about, right? Everything from the robot AI dogs to the robots AI soldiers to those special, they're ours, it's not UFOs, you know, flying vehicles that can disappear in the sky and have all kinds of weapons that no one's seen before. I mean, we've got these alleged laser rays and so forth and so on. What do you think, folks? Do we just not have that bull jive? Is it like the nuclear weapons at all? Is it all just a con hustle, a dodge, and a scam? Is this just the American people's version of playing make-believe? Do we not have that? Or do we just not use that at this juncture so we can just make this a more protracted war than it already is? Waste more lives, waste more time, get more people to sign up and so forth and so on. Is that the game we're playing here? Could be. So it's either we don't have the weapons that we allege to have, or we don't want to use them so we can make this whole thing just exsanguinate in front of us like Vietnam 2.0. Or really, that's kind of an old hat metaphor at this point because we've been in the Middle East way longer than we've been in Vietnam. So maybe this is going to become the Middle East 2.0. Think so? It would make more sense because that's where we are, wouldn't it? Anyway, just food for thought, fodder for the bottom of the bird cage, perhaps. Huh? All right, we're running towards the east side of the tank at this juncture, folks. So we're gonna have to roll out with Afroman. Let's get him on the screen. Me and Afroman are gonna get in our spaceship and avoid the meteors and comets as we just poof out like a big puff of smoke, don't you think? Me and Afroman are signing off for you, folks. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.